Second. Do we need a roll call for that, or just?
Nope, we're good.
Okay. Minutes approved. New business, item number 1, case number 24-05-REC, public hearing for the consideration of a request to rezone approximately 39 acres at Southeast 20th and Southeast Bluestem from AR Agricultural Residential District to RS Residential Suburban District. Mr. Ricker.
Yes, Chairman and Commissioners. Mr. Kellerman is requesting this rezone with the envision of subdividing approximately 39 acres into 4 lots. 2 of those lots would be 5-acre parcels, and 1 would be a 7-acre parcel that would front Bluestem Road. The remaining property to the west, which is around 19 acres, would front along Southeast 20th Street. This property is located within our ETJ. The County Commission has reviewed this with a favorable recommendation. The applicant's here this evening, and so is their representative. If you'd like to ask them to come up and answer any questions.
Okay. Would anyone like to come forth and discuss this? Name and address for the record, please.
Roger Cutsanger, I'm with Wingard Hunt, surveyors and engineers, 120 North Main. I'm here tonight with Mr. and Mrs. Counterman, who are the owners of this property. And we've already taken it to the county planners, and we've made some adjustments on that. I assume you all have a copy. And I believe we've met all the other regulations.
Commissioners, you have any questions for Mr. Cutsinger?
Mr. Cutsinger, the county commissioners, what did they want adjusted?
Mainly it was where the entrances are coming out of Bluestem, one existing. We moved the controlled access north, and then the other lot that's 19 acres, the only real good place for an entrance is on the far northwest corner. And of course, it's a township road. The way the county wanted it first was in a drainage area, so we moved it.
Okay.
Mr. Cutsinger, the county's concerns all have to do with the plat, right? Not the rezone.
Not the zoning, right,
Okay.
yeah.
It's just to make that
Yeah,
clear.
thank you.
The plat,
Clarification. Gotcha.
I do have the plat here tonight, too, so.
We're gonna vote once on rezoning and once on plating, is that correct?
correct. If you deem it appropriate to recommend a rezone, the second item in your agenda tonight is a consideration of approval of the plat.
We can talk more about that on the second.
And the idea would be to put 4 homes in there someday.
I believe so. Mr. Counterman's here with me tonight. He's already talked to the Rural Water District 1, right? And they're going to be putting in some more lines in that area.
Is that why you'd have to rezone? Because it's all one 39-acre lot right
Yeah.
now?
So, you can see on the map there, everything that's not shaded is zoned agricultural residential. So that is, to be able to live on the property, you have to have a minimum of 40 acres. With his intent to subdivide, that reduces the 39 acres into those 7-acre, 5-acre, 19-acre parcels. So that does not fit the AR zoning. So that's why the request to rezone residential suburban is before you. You can see the orange hashed property across from Bluestem is currently zoned residential suburban. And then when you get further north of Southeast 20th Street, you get into a prospect area where it's a lot denser residential.
Maybe just an ancillary question to go along with that. The rural water lines are at the property owner's expense.
Yeah, the city's not involved in that.
Okay.
You know, everything, the only thing the city is involved in is the use of the land and an ancillary review of the plats.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Mr. Counterman, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Not at this point.
Thank you. Okay, well, at this time, I'd like to open up public hearing and see if there's anyone in the audience that'd like to step forth and address what's before us right currently. And if you please tell us your name and address when you get close to the podium there on the microphone.
Cheryl Alvarez, 2445 Southeast Blue Stem Road. Our property adjoins, or against the south side of Counterman's.
Okay.
And I guess our main concern right now is just, we need information about what this is gonna do for like our taxes and, I mean, I'm really not in favor of having 4 more houses. We kind of bought a 40-acre plot so that we could have our own, you know, our little own paradise, I guess. But we just thought we were far enough out of the city limits to, you know, make that possible. So we're just kind of concerned at this point to see what's happening. And
You have 40 acres to the south, you said,
yes,
and it's all agricultural? You have cattle, horses?
we have cattle, pig, chickens,
You think
goats.
they'll be adversely affected by this?
I would think they would be. I mean, you put 4 more houses there, it's gonna be just like the little subdivision that's on down the road there on past 30th. But, I mean, that's just my personal opinion, so.
And the ones across the street from you in that residential area doesn't,
I did not know that that was like that. There's nothing there right now, but an old farmhouse.
so it's just zoned that way, but there's no houses.
Yeah, if commissioners and you can see around this map, little squares that are parcels that obviously aren't 40 acres, that are just non-conforming, were done years ago, split off. So that's how they exist. The reasons you see these residential suburban, this orange hatched areas are ones that have came before Butler County when they changed their zoning rules or when the city took over the ETJ.
Ma'am, is there I'm assuming at the bottom of that yellow circle around the 1,000-foot buffer there that is drawn through your property, is close to the bottom of that yellow line, is that where your home is?
Yes, it's actually right underneath that yellow
Okay.
line, I'm assuming,
Now,
so.
across the street from you, I'm just trying to get my bearings a little bit. Is there another neighbor's home across the street of Blue Stem right there?
Yes, straight
Okay.
across there
Okay.
is, but it's not in that,
Right, it's
Yeah.
outside of that orange deal?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just trying to get my bearings on that. Thank you.
yeah.
Anyone else have any other questions for her? Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else choose to speak during the public hearing? Again, name and address for the phone number.
Ron Alvarez,
Okay.
2445 Southeast Blue Stem. My biggest concern is why the city's involved in this and not the county. And number 2, there is a cave system that runs out there, and also there's an aquifer that runs out there. The aquifer I know runs underneath my property. How's this going to affect if they put in sewer lines or put in a lagoon? How's that going to affect the cave system and the aquifer? Is that going to seep into the system? And am I going to have sour water for my cattle? And as far as hunting, I'm a hunter. My kids are a hunter, grandkids. If you put 4 more houses on this lot, that takes that away. That endangers those 4 houses because we rifle hunt and we also archery hunt. And I bought that 40 acres for just that reason. For me to have a place to go hunting, for me to have a place to raise my family, to raise cattle and whatever else we want to raise, without to have to worry about somebody on the other side of the fence crossing line, shooting at my cows, shooting at my dogs or whatever. I don't need that.
Do you envision that that's gonna be a problem?
I do envision that's going to be a big problem. Because I hunt, we target practice, we every now and then get together and skeet shoot. And we skeet shoot to the north because I got a hedgerow there and it blocks all the shot.
Okay.
But sometimes we rifle hunt, and then that's going to take all that away from me and my family and anybody
So-
else that comes out there if this goes through.
Just to play a little devil's advocate here, just to get what you're thinking here. Are you saying that when you're skeet shooting or you're rifle hunting or whatever, that you're purposely aiming north because there's nothing on that 40 acres that they own?
For the hedgerow with the
Okay.
shotgun. But
Okay.
I do have a place down by the pond that's a little berm that I will shoot into. It's
Okay.
just a big old pile of dirt and trees,
Okay,
which is close to the pond, which is close to that.
okay.
So how long have you lived there?
We have lived there 6 years, 7 years?
How many?
6,
6.
yeah.
Have
We
you
bought
visited Mr. Counterman about your issues?
He's never asked. And this is the first time this ain't the first time, I heard it before, that he was wanting to put these houses in. And I don't know why it took so long for him to come up and say, okay, this is what we're planning to do. You know, instead of facing man to man and saying, okay, this is my intentions to do, he goes this route, which I understand is legal. But he could have asked us what we thought before this is all coming up. Because I know everybody, the property, that subdivision you said, which is owned by Matt McLaughlin, he's dead set against it. My neighbor's dead set against it. There is a teacher that owns that property from Rose Hill who is dead set against all this. Nobody wants this. And what's gonna come up, you can all you want. But what makes me mad is it's gonna raise our taxes, and we just had our taxes raised again through the appraisal. So,
That
it's gonna
city or
force a
county?
lot.
That city or county taxes?
County.
It's county.
County tax.
That's why I can't figure out why the city's involved in this and not the county.
The county has granted us jurisdiction to help them out in the rezone 3 miles outside the circular limits of the city of El Dorado. They come with us a recommendation based upon what they've preliminarily looked at the deal. And then they don't have I guess, time or whatever this close to the city limits of El Dorado, so they've forged a deal with City of El Dorado to allow those cases to come to us. And then what we do as an advisory board is we take this data from you, from the petitioners, and then talk about it in open forum for the public access, and then we discuss it amongst ourselves if it meets what we've been advised from the city and or the county and their recommendation, and then we vote on it there, and then we send it to the commissioners themselves. We don't actually have any binding authority, we're just an advisory council.
So what's that gonna do? Is that gonna increase Prospect city limits out there? And is it
There's
gonna,
nothing on our plate for that.
No.
It's just a matter of
But will it?
Simple, well, it could, but the city limits of El Dorado, I mean, you wanna play hypotheticals, it could be out to Prospect in the next 10 years.
yeah, so,
I mean,
and then
we don't-
what that does is screw us
But we
out
don't-
of our
we
hunting
don't-
and fishing.
We're not controlling that, nor are we or making any judgments
Yeah.
on that
So-
there. I mean, anything's possible, obviously, in the future. Our thing is only what's right before us now, and then, like I say, it's a non-binding recommendation or unrecommendation, if you might say, towards the governmental body, which in this case would be the county.
Right.
Mr. Roberts, did you get an opportunity to speak to the county commissioners? And
I have
tell them?
not.
I mean, did they have a hearing too, Mr. Ricker?
They do not. This board is the official public hearing.
Okay.
Yeah,
So the county commission reviews it to make sure it aligns with their comprehensive plan. So does it follow that comp plan that the county's adopted and look at things like future land use maps?
Personally,
And
I
then-
think the county should have said something way before this. They should have had a meeting with us instead of waiting until tonight to do this, which I think is kind of a bunch of BS. On your behalf, you guys should have set one up before that and had a meeting separately with everybody. And what gets me is why not everybody in that area ever got a letter saying this was happening?
That everyone within 1,000 feet, that yellow area got a letter from the city telling them about tonight. We do always advise applicants, to go and talk to those neighbors,
Okay.
let them know what's going on, what they're requesting, what their plans are. But tonight is really the night for all the evidence to be presented to the planning commission on this case, hear from the landowners.
Okay.
Planning commissioners can't get involved in discussions outside of the official public hearing. So that's what we're doing here tonight.
Okay.
And back to the city being involved, that's something the county wanted the city to do. Same thing that Augusta does in other
Yeah,
communities.
I understand it, but my point is, why didn't you come to us saying, okay, we want to have this meeting, discuss it with us, fill us in what was going on, instead of sending out a letter saying, we're going to have this meeting? To me, that should have been on you to come up and
We're
tell
not,
us.
we're not the ones wanting this.
Well, I
So
know, but you're
we're
part of the
ones that
county.
We're the ones that received the application.
Yeah, I realize that.
There is a
but-
desire from the owner of the property to do something on the property that he owns.
Yeah.
So he filled out the applications, and then we
Right.
followed the process by notifying you of the meeting
Yeah,
here
a
tonight.
week before the meeting is when we got the letter. About right? About a week or two? Yeah. But I still think we should have had a meeting before this to let us know what was going on instead of the last minute.
The notification should have been 20 days prior.
So I don't think it was 20 days prior, so.
So, Mr. Alvarez, you did say one thing that got my attention. You were talking about a cave system, and you were talking about water, and you're talking about cattle, and I do think that has some validity when you talk about septic ponds and what happens with that.
Yep.
And what somebody does with their private land is one thing, but if it affects other in terms of water, to me, that's a very real issue.
Yeah, because
And so tell me more about that.
the water?
I mean, your concern. with the
My
water
concern
and
is
the
that's all going to seep into the ground, which we know everything's going to seep into the ground anyhow.
Do you
But
guys-
that cave system, yes, we do have a lagoon. It's
Okay.
lined
Okay,
like it's supposed to be. But that lagoon, the aquifer runs kind of east-west. And that cave system, I know, comes up to the prison, which is only about a half a mile from my backyard. So I don't know how far that cave system comes through this way. That's my biggest concern between that and the water. And I do have another water well just northwest of my house. It's 80, 90 feet deep,
yeah.
so.
And your line lagoon, does it create any issues or problems with the water, with your water?
No,
purity of your
we've had
water?
it tested.
Why do you think theirs would?
It just depends on where they set it. So when you're talking 4 houses, and if they're properly lined. But then the other issue is too, you put them water lines out there on that limestone, eventually that's gonna end up bursting some of them lines, because District 1 has trouble with that up between the jail and the prison. They just had another water line break because the rocks are shifting. So
But
that's
it's
gonna be.
treated water.
Huh?
In rural water, it's treated water.
Yes, I know it's treated water, but if you end up digging into that solid rock, that's why I can't dig up my pond, because that is limestone bed through there. And you're gonna have a lot of issues. We won't, he will, if he puts these in there with
We're
all
getting
that
a little
limestone.
off course here, because whatever issues that the property owner would have if this
Yes,
is
I know,
approved
it's his
is his problem.
Yeah,
And he'll have to go through the same situation where there'll be an environmental deal involved from the county. I mean, you can't put a county in the, or a lagoon in county without meeting county code.
Right.
I know that firsthand. I live in the
Yeah.
county.
Yeah, I know.
So, that's not what we have on our plate, and whether or not it would be, I mean, he could very well have this approved and not be able to build on it for some particular reason, but that's, the burden's on the landowner, it's not on
Well,
our committee.
You asked for our opinion.
Right, and I get
What we
it.
thought, that's
I
what
get
my
it.
opinion is, and that's what my thoughts are with this land,
I understand.
you know? And
When you got your letter 20 days ago, did you not think to call Mr. Rickard about what was going on here with
I don't even remember if we got it in 20 days.
Well, just to clarify, when I said 20 days, I'm not sure when the letter went out, but the official publication in the newspaper was 20 days prior to this evening. Their letter should have gone out about the same time, I just don't know that
Yeah,
right now.
I got you. Well, whenever you got your letter, did you not think to initiate a contact with the city and find out what's going on? No,
No, so,
okay.
All right, well, thank you.
All right.
Anybody else got anything? Okay, thank you.
all right, thanks.
Yes, come on up. Name and address for the record, please.
Michelle Counterman, 104 West Virginia Avenue, no, 104 West Sunflower Avenue, Augusta, Kansas. So to address some of those concerns, I personally don't feel that for families, like just because we're platting it this way doesn't mean that we're planning to sell it. And these plans were never in the works prior to just a couple of weeks ago when I was starting to fuss at my husband about wanting to retire. And he's like, well, let's divide some of the land up and we'll think about selling a piece here or there so that you can retire instead of having to work till I was 65. So this hasn't been a recent or a long-term goal. This was a recent plan, first of all. So it wasn't like we've been planning this and then not telling people. It was a spur-of-the-moment thing. And the next thing is, you know, we're not putting houses in there. They would be plats for sale, and those owners would do whatever they wanted to do with the property. The next thing I wanted to address was the water issue, because Mr. Shearburn with the water district out there has informed us that they already plan to put in 4 or 6 inch water lines for rural water along those roads within the next year or two. And so rural water is going to be very accessible to that area.
Is there not real water down the area now, or?
There is, but the
Just need
lines are
upgrading it?
smaller.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just upgrading it.
Yes, the lines are smaller and wouldn't really necessarily accommodate for a lot more, but with 4 to 6 inch lines, he said it would be unlimited how many houses that would accommodate out there. We're not looking for unlimited, we're looking for 4 plats that we might sell, We just would like to have it platted out in that fashion. The other thing is cattle do a lot more damage and use a lot more water to the aquifer than for families, in my opinion. Do the research. That's what I have to say about that. And,
I've got questions for you.
okay.
How long have you all owned that acreage?
I think 3.5 or 4 years.
Okay. And, am I correct in, I thought somebody had mentioned that this was 39 acres?
Yeah.
So is that part of the reason why for this petition was because the way it's zoned now, you would not be allowed to build a house because it doesn't break 40 acre minimum?
Oh, I'm sure they would let you put a house.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. All right, anybody else have questions?
Just thinking it, sometime in the future, if you guys do decide to sell this lot, they'd be eligible to buy it if they wanted to.
Absolutely.
The one closest to them.
Oh, anybody could buy it, absolutely. There would be no restrictions with that. And unfortunately, we have had conflict with this family in the recent, and I'm concerned that that's part of
what their concern is too, that the conflict didn't necessarily go in anyone's favor. It was kind of a draw. And so I'm concerned that that is at play as well.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Name and address for the record, please.
My name is William Chuck Kellerman. Just to some of Ron's concerns, that would be the same concerns of if we sold a plat, it'd be the same concerns as a new homeowner if they were to build a house. If Ron shoots, it would be just as dangerous for them as, the others. Cattle, they poop in ponds. You have to have linings and lagoons. All of the laws would be in place for if there was a house on it or if someone buys all of it. Even though it's going to be possibly split up, someone could buy it and still be 40 acres. If it gets split, we're still going to have the 39 acres. So taxes, we have other lots that are split. Taxes, they don't affect taxes any. We still have the same farm ground. So,
Is it your intention, Mr. Counterman, that, to build a home on the large parcel if it got subdivided, or?
that would be something we might do.
Okay, so you're not looking to build anything on it right now, this is just?
Oh, no, it could sit
this is-
empty for 20 years.
Okay, this is just in preparation
This
to,
is because of cost
Just
and
in
everything.
case. okay,
It would be cheaper to do it now than in 10 years.
Okay.
And we even have an easement through a couple of the 5 acres for the 20 acres in the back for utilities.
oh,
So, yeah.
okay,
But Ron's concerns would be the same as any of the other landowners if we get it split. So, you have to abide by the law, so.
Hypothetically, you could put a house just on the 19-acre land and not sell the other land, and you just have one extra house out there. You could,
There is one.
you
thing
could
just-
technically do that, right?
One thing to always remember is, once the zoning changes, anything that's allowed under that zoning could happen.
Okay.
So, just keep that in mind, there may not be an intent to build in the next 10 years or whatever. No one knows what tomorrow holds. And once the zoning change becomes official, as long as it meets the regulations of that district, that's allowed.
And one of the things that, it's zoned, was it urban jurisdiction? And that's why the city is also in play. And actually, we could have split it up in 3-acre lots. But we used to live out in the country, we don't now, we lived out in the country for 40 years. But we didn't want that many, we didn't want 3-acre lots. We didn't want that many lots out there. Because
Yeah, within the RS zoning district, you can have a minimum of 3-acre lots, is the smallest you can have, as long as you're served by rural water, or as long as, served by rural water. And it can be a minimum of 5-acre lot no, I'm sorry. 5 acres if it's rural water and has a septic, 3 acres if it's private sewer, or a separate sewer system tied into the
Septic
city.
tank.
City.
so.
okay. Anyone else have anything from Mr. Counterman?
Are there any restrictions on what kind of house you could, mobile homes, trailer homes?
What is built, it could be a mobile home, but
It can be.
it couldn't.
Oh, okay. Can.
But all of that's under the Butler County's purview. So whoever owns the property or buys a parcel, whatever, they have to go to the Butler County to get a permit to build. The county permits the environmental side, so the wastewater in all those things. The city is not involved in it. The only thing we are involved in is the use of the land, how it's to be used.
Roger Cutzinger, I'd just like to maybe expand a little bit on this extraterritorial jurisdiction, and that is basically a growth area for the communities like El Dorado, Augusta, and different ones. I believe El Dorado and Augusta are the only two towns that are big enough that have both zoning and plating. The reason the county is involved is simply because of, like Blue Stem Road is a county road. And I can tell you from the meetings I've been to there, they are getting very strict about water. They're denying people down, especially in the southwest quadrant, building or digging more wells. And they're requiring the real water. And all permitting, like Scott said, has to go through the county. And I believe it's still 50 feet off the property line minimum for a lagoon. I'm pretty sure of that. But that's the main reason the county's involved.
All right. Thank you. State your name and address for the record when you get to the microphone, please.
Charles Paz, 2918 Southeast 30th where I live. But I got the 78 acres that joins Ron. And I'm concerned with them putting lagoons or what in there, because I got a pond and 2 wells on that place. What the wastewater is gonna do to the water wells. I lease everything out to cattle. I don't own anything, don't own any cattle or nothing yet, or in there. But I'm concerned if they're going in there and with the rock, it's this little right on top of the ground. You start disturbing that rock, you change the direction of the water.
I mean, it's what you're talking about for runoff?
Yes,
Okay.
and when I built, I had to have 40 acres. And that's what I was concerned, how they can break this down in 3, 5, and 2, when you used to have 40.
Well, that's the county regulations.
Right.
I mean,
I'm one of them too.
Do you have a lagoon?
Huh?
Do you have a lagoon? Lagoon?
No,
do you have a home on that property, sir?
yep,
Okay.
got 3 of them.
Okay.
And then the water, yes, the water district has been, the houses south of us has been fighting for, I don't know, 2 or 3, 4 years of not having enough water pressure. So they are talking about putting a bigger line to service the people that's already there. And when Grandma was alive across the road, she couldn't get on District 1 because the lines weren't big enough for supply water for one old lady.
Sounds like they're trying to correct that.
I didn't hear you.
Sounds like they're trying to correct that.
They're
with a
trying to, but
6-inch line.
just about 40 years late. Of course,
Yeah.
you know that too, so do I.
Sure.
So you have a 40-acre lot and you have 3 homes on it?
No, I got 100 and, well, I
Oh,
don't,
okay.
my wife.
Okay.
109 on one side,
Okay,
78 on the other side.
okay. I misunderstood.
That's all I'm concerned about, and I'm also concerned about dad burn taxes.
Yeah.
But the water line, yes, I talked to the district, they were down, and they are proposing to trying to get a grant or a loan to put a new line in, but it could be 2 years, it could be 10 years. They have no idea when. They were hoping 3, but he said, don't count on it.
That would run along Blue Stem Road? Is that the
Yes.
water line you're talking?
Yes.
All the way to the highway or?
It runs from the water tower there at the school, the Prospect School, across, down on the west side of Blue Stem, all the way to the corner of 30th and Blue Stem, and then it goes on south, and it also goes east. District 6 comes in, they both come in there and meet at Blue Stem and 30th. I had to wait 9 months to get on 6. I couldn't get on 1 when I built down there. And yet it was on our land.
Mr. Rickard, who has to pay for rural water lines? Because I don't know. When rural water lines go in, who's paying for those?
That's up to the board of trustees of that district to determine how their policies.
Doesn't know how far it is. Drawing the line probably don't cost anything, except for the meter, to start with.
Okay.
I think they're 2,500 now or something like that, 3,000.
Yeah, they're up there quite a bit.
Does anybody have any more questions for Mr. Paulus before we start discussing things amongst ourselves? Okay, thank you, sir. Is there anyone else for the public hearing that wants to speak? Last chance.
Might as well.
Okay,
Just
okay.
to repeat myself, there will be a water line for all of the lots, which is what is recommended by the county. People will have to abide by the rules, putting in a lagoon or a septic tank. You guys are just here to see if it can get platted out, so thanks, guys.
Thank you. Last call on public hearing. All right, we're going to close the public hearing. Now it's discussion by the planning commission. Anyone have anything else they want to discuss or add to this?
Just a question for Mr. Rickard. What I heard you say is that the county will be responsible for making sure that any lagoons meet all and every standards.
That is their duty and that's their role, yeah. The city is not involved in.
And someone could question the county about that and how they're doing it and ask questions of the county over that.
I'm sure, you know, if it was in the city limits, the city of El Dorado has Kansas Department of Health and Environment
Okay. And if
procedures we have
a
to follow.
citizen didn't like what they heard, they could contract with an attorney.
Anyone has that ability.
Sure,
yeah.
just,
Yep.
that's what I was getting at.
Yeah. There is, with every zoning case, you know, there is that ability for, a protest petition after the public hearing. So, what a protest petition does then, is cause a, supermajority of the city commission's vote to, pass a recommendation in the planning commission.
Anything else?
And then I just got one thing to say. He mentioned that he hunts on his property and worried about that. I live in the city limits out here on North Main and they still hunt behind me. So as long as you're safe, it shouldn't interfere with any kind of hunting. I'm an avid hunter. I don't like taking away anybody's ability to hunt. And I don't feel that this would.
Well, in the grand scheme of things, what we're listening for is obviously feedback from anyone that could be impacted at some point or another with the recommendations from the county and or city. And it's a big looming thing that I see on a lot of these cases that we have come before us is the first thing that comes to mind is private property rights. I don't own 40 acres, but I have my name on 280 acres at Cassidy, and I don't want anybody telling me what we can or can't do on that land. If we decided to do a subsection on a corner of it and divide it off into some 5-acre lots, it's up to the governmental bodies to determine whether or not they'll allow that, not if a neighbor across the street doesn't like the fact that we break up their view of the sunset. I mean, you should have bought the land, I guess. I mean, that's where I'm at, where as far as private property, it's hard one for me to discount, even though a neighbor's not really liking what they're hearing as far as, it doesn't sound like Mr. Counterman's gonna stick 4 houses on this property anytime real soon. It's done preliminary for what he wants to use his property for. And so I'm kind of, at that point. Anyone else have anything else to add to this? Okay. Then I would entertain a motion.
I move to recommend approval of case number 24-05-REZ, an application by William Counterman to rezone approximately 39 acres in the northeast quarter of Section 17, Township 26, Range 6, East, located at the southwest corner,
East.
Southeast.
The southwest corner. He was right.
southwest corner,
Located at the southwest corner of Southeast.
20th Street and Blue Stem Road from AR Agriculture Residential District to RS Residential Suburban District for reasons stated in the staff's recommendations and heard at the public hearing.
I'll second that.
Commissioners, it's been moved and seconded as read. Mr. Rickert?
Yes. Commissioner Watson,
Yes.
Commissioner Long,
Yes.
Commissioner Letts,
Yes.
Commissioner Leeson,
Yes.
Commissioner LaForge,
Yes.
Chairman Hackler,
Yes.
Commissioner Fellers.
Yes.
Okay. Item number 2, semi-related. Case number 24-02-PLAT, consideration for Rocky Creek Meadows plat, presentation of request.
Yep, as previously discussed, before you is the final plats for Rocky Creek Meadows. Mr. Cutzinger did make you aware there were some minor tweaks the county suggested on there and have been made. The plat itself conforms to the city's subdivision regulations, so recommending you approve the plat this evening.
Commissioners, anything added to this? We kind of have talked it to death over, kind of as a joint venture here. Any more discussion about it? Okay, entertain a motion for this, please.
I move to approve the plat of Rocky Creek Meadows as presented.
I'll second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Can we get a roll call on this, please?
Yes, Commissioner Fellers,
Yes.
Chairman Hackler,
Yes.
Commissioner LaForge,
Yes.
Commissioner Leeson,
Yes.
Commissioner Letts,
Yes.
Commissioner Long,
Yes.
Commissioner Watson.
Yes.
All right, and then that will go before the county commission
The city commission.
or city commission.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, old business,
No old business.
staff items.
So with our chairman serving as well for, as in that capacity and him moving on to other things, tonight we're looking for suggestion to elect a new chair and vice chair. If you so desire this evening, that can always wait as well. But if there is that thought or preference, we can do that this evening.
You want to have a nomination for, we got to do a nomination for chair first, Mr. Rickard?
Sure.
A nomination for chairman of the zoning and planning commission?
I would have a nomination. I would nominate Austin Letts for chair of the planning and zoning.
I second that.
Mr. Letts, do you accept that nomination?
Yeah, I'll accept.
Okay. And then we just do a yay or nay?
Yeah, just all in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Yay.
Yes.
All abstain. Since I'm about out the door. Can't blame me. All right. So Austin Letzel has been elected as chairman going forward after tonight. And do we have a nomination or acceptance of affirming his current vice chair role? Anyone?
I would like to see our vice chair continue. He's been here a long time, makes great decisions.
Is there a second to that?
I'll second that. You talking about Scott Leeson?
Yeah,
Yep. Okay.
not to be confused with the other Scotts.
No.
all right?
We can sneak you in.
Scott, Mr. Leeson, are you want to accept that nomination?
Yes, I would.
All right. All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Passed. All right. Next meeting will be 6/27/24. Public hearing to rezone north side of Twant Avenue from Boyer Road to Haverhill, from AR to multiple zoning classifications and the plat for the same location. That kind of pretty much wraps up, other than I will say that just in a little tidbit for myself as the expired,
Expiring, that
I'm
sounds
expiring,
bad.
the expired chair of this body. It's been my pleasure to serve on this for, I think, what's it been, about 4 years, hasn't it? Something like that. And in the capacity of vice chair and chair, I didn't get very much time in vice chair. I got kind of slingshotted up the chain a little quick. But I have enjoyed my time here and gone through, we've had a lot of easy ones and a couple of challenges. And everybody knows which challenge I'm talking about. But it's been interesting to learn the inner workings of this. I valued my time doing this, and I just like all things do kind of wrap themselves up, and I think that I'm looking forward to seeing the up-and-coming Chairman Letts take the reins and see what you guys can do with that. I wish everybody well, and I thank you for supporting me in my capacity.
And we absolutely thank you
Yes.
for your leadership of this group.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Great job,
Thank you
Scott.
very
Yeah.
much.
Thank you.
Yes.
Do we have a motion for adjournment?
I motion to adjourn for the evening.
And a second.
And a second.
So moved.